Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Thank you to everybody joining us over at woodwardsports.com. Wednesday morning, a beautiful Wednesday, by the way. We're going to get upwards of, 63, 64 today?
Yes,
all
sir.
Sun, no clouds, no sleet, no snow. Maybe all in one day. Who knows? You never know in Michigan. Election day wrapped up. So, depending on who you voted for, you either woke up very happy today or you woke up very upset.
But the fact that you voted.
Good for you, exactly.
Good for you.
Did you vote, Jeff Iafrate?
I did.
Oh, good.
I did vote.
Having said that,
did you vote,
the Wings
Adham?
played last night. The Wings played last night.
Thanks for answering
and they
my
lost
question. We appreciate it.
What is it?
I asked if you voted.
Fish, I barely listened to you half the time. Yes, I did, though. Having said that, Wings lost last night to the Canadians in a game where, boy, the Wings really put it on Montreal. But their goaltender, credit to him, he only let 2 in. And he did the same in overtime. And then in the shootout, he only gave up 1.
Jake
Montreal
Allen
scored 2 in the shootout. The rest is history. Wings lose again in OT. Again, I'll take it. I'll take it. You take a point. It's a night where you'd rather walk away with a point than nothing in a game where you were clearly the better team, right?
Right. And Dylan Larkin even said after the game, if we played that exact same game 10
a lot of
times,
hockey games.
We'll win 8 out of it. He said we'll win 8 of them. So, again, you like how they played. You like everything else. If you look at just simply the box score and the team stats, you like how everything checks out. They should have capitalized on some of those opportunities. But at the end of the day, like you said, you get a point, and it's exciting. So I'll take it. Jake Allen had a hell of a game, man. He made some incredible saves. He playing his ass off for Montreal.
Even Uso at times stepped up big for the Wings.
Husso as well.
Husso
as well.
It was just unfortunate, right? You get to a penalty shootout. I mean, if there's one thing you're not confident in, at least from my perspective, I don't see any, wicked handlers on this team that when a penalty shootout comes out, you're like, oh, yeah, they got this. No problem. Easy. Easiest day of my life, right? It's not the case right now with this team. Did you get a chance to catch Larkin's shot?
Yeah, I did.
Brutal.
Yeah.
It was brutal.
It was brutal.
I'm not a professional hockey player, so who the hell am I to criticize somebody else?
You probably skate circles around
I can skate, though. I can skate.
You can skate?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can skate. I played back in the day.
I'd like to see that.
You got a nice shot? A little slap shot?
A little whisk shot?
No, not really. Let's not dramatize what we're talking about here. But, yeah, look, the Wings, again, solid performance, 7-3-3 on the season. What is that? They got 17 points on the year. They're in a tough Eastern Conference. The division is tough as well. It's a point well-earned. It's a well-earned point. Not what you wanted. Should have walked away with 2, but you can live with it. You can live with it. In other news, really no NBA action last night. Pistons back in action. That'll be fun. Get to watch Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey continue. Really, Jeff, what I think is the early stages of what could be a dynamic duo. Now, are they both going to be superstars? That's a tough bet to make. But
could
two
be.
All-Stars?
Yeah, definitely.
I think that's looking to be the case. I would say at least 2 All-Stars. So we always talk about how do you build a championship team. Well, you got to have at least the dude, right? Mm-hmm. And then pair him around with at least 1 All-Star and then a bunch of really good players, right? That's what it's looking like so far. And when I look at the Pistons, again, it is a process, unfortunately. These kids don't develop in a year. You do have your rare cases of Luka, LeBron, these guys. Even Banchero this year has
just come out and average 22
that is
a game.
Ridiculous. Yeah, but again, name me the players in their second year that have averaged 21, 5, and 5. It's a small list.
Yeah, not too many.
Magic, LeBron, Luka, Cade Cunningham. Not bad for a number 1 overall pick, if you ask me.
Pretty good company.
Talk about meeting expectations of a pick, especially that high. He's lived up to it so far. So I'm excited about the Pistons, Jeff. I think the one thing that does concern me, though, we mentioned, Monday a little bit. Killian Hayes, that's just, it's a miss. No?
At this point, yeah. what I would classify as a miss, because if you're drafted at 7, Adam, at this point, we don't need Killian to be a superstar. We don't need him to be an all-star. You need to be a contributor at the very least, and someone that can come off your bench and be your 6th, or excuse me, not 6th, but 7th or 8th man. He's not even that right now, and he's struggling bad. If he was, let's say, he was averaging 9 points, 9, 5, and 4, whatever it is, and he was coming off your bench, he was playing solid, I wouldn't classify that as a miss, but the historically bad start he's had to this season, it's concerning, and at times he's a liability. And to be honest, my theory on it is it's something mental for him. He's putting too much pressure on himself compared to the actual pressure that's on him. But at the same time, you can't argue with his play. He's been struggling. And as of right now, this is a guy that a lot of people, I've talked to Pistons fans, and you guys might think I'm crazy for saying this. Pistons fans I've talked to, not me, but people I've talked to, really believed Killian could be your 6th man this year. And even at the time, I thought that was, completely crazy. But my expectations for him was to be your 7th, 8th man. And right now, he's really not even trending in that direction. So
the offensive game to be a 6th man, right? I think
he can't score at an NBA level, it seems like.
He can't. What does a 6th man do on a good team? A contending team? 12, 13 a night? Right? You're not getting half of that right now. Less than half of that from Killian Hayes. He's not a 6th man. If anything, he's just a perimeter defender that you would like to have on your team.
He's a credible passer. He just can't score.
Good facilitator, and that's it. No offensive game, and he's a liability.
And as good of a defender as he is, Adam, he actually has as many fouls as assists. So, the fouls are concerning, too. So, again, I was at the game about a week ago, the Hawks game, with Anthony, Pistons talk, shout out to him. And one thing I watch with Killian is he'd get subbed in, he'd go out on the court, and he'd struggle. I believe he got a foul, or he turned the ball over, he was in there for a couple minutes, and he got pulled for Corey Joseph, which the crowd wasn't excited about that. But anyway, I digress. He came to the bench, he sat down, and I could see his dad about 5 rows behind him. And the thing that you could visibly see that you really can't see on the broadcast when you're in the arena is how frustrated he is at himself. And looking at his dad's just watching him like, yep, this is what he is. He's frustrated, and rightfully so, with this play. But that's why I do think it's mentally. There's really not that much pressure. This team isn't contending. You don't have a short leash. It's pretty long at this point. He just has to get rid of the pressure, go out there, and just play free. Don't worry about the noise, because if Troy Weaver and Dwayne Casey are both backing you, Troy picking up your next year's option, and Dwayne saying the leash really isn't short, we want him to develop.
We suck right now. Just so you know, if we were a better basketball team, we would have cut your ass. Basically what Casey
that's
said.
Pressure. If you said, Killian, we're going to cut your ass if you don't play well. That's pressure. But there's no pressure. He's got to relax. He really has to
develop. He's got to develop.
There you go.
He's not developing. Yeah. Sorry. It just isn't.
And he's never been a great 3-point shooter, but for him to regress is it's concerning. It really is.
I guess that's where I'll probably lead into the next part of this conversation that I have really a question for you, Jeff. Talked about expectations, wins, losses, all this nonsense, whatever. The reality is, Ivy is a player. He belongs in the NBA. Uber athletic.
Right.
Good rebounder. Really can facilitate, I think, better than what we even projected going into the year. 3-point shots looking better. Playing much better defense, almost 2 steals a game.
Yeah,
so he's that guy. My question for you is, this is a league where, the great teams have a 1 and 2 and a pretty damn good 3, right? Where does Saddiq Bey fit in all this? Especially in the future on a guy who's going to be eligible for a lot of money pretty soon.
Saddiq is playing phenomenal lately. I mean, the last 5 games, he's averaging 20 points per game. And we talked about it on Tuesday, He was the best player on the court. I mean, in the fourth quarter, especially. I mean, he scored 12 in the fourth quarter. The guy's an animal, and he really is. Over the last 5, he's been playing really well. Saddiq, in my opinion, is your 3. Until proven otherwise. At least he's developing that way. And the fact that Dwayne Casey, and this is where, people like to, crap on Dwayne Casey. I'm going to give him credit, because this is what I love about Dwayne and how he's able to adjust Saddiq Bey to come off the bench, or not come off the bench, but play with the bench players, stagger his minutes so he can be free. He can have the ball in his hands, be able to make plays. for example, playing with the starting lineup, it seemed like he was either settling or didn't really know where he stood. I mean, there was a game this year where he took like 5 shots. I'm like, no, that can't happen. Seeing him over the last couple games, he's gotten just phenomenal, incredibly much better. So for Saddiq Bey, I really do, Adam. I believe his ceiling's a 3, to be honest with you, and that's
So
not
what
a
does
bad
that
thing.
contract look
Now
like?
on a really good team, maybe you're 4, but right now with this team, as he grows, I think he's a 3.
What does his contract look like?
I could see him getting a contract similar to, i.e., Cameron Johnson from Phoenix. Something you
So what, 4/100?
something like that, maybe a
4 to
little less,
490?
maybe 4 for 80, 4 for 90, something like that. I can see Saddiq, because if he's giving you 17, 19 points per game, like you're paying $19 million for that. Like that's how that works. So again, lots to look forward to for Saddiq Bey. I just love how much he's expanded his game this year. He's gotten much better.
Very good. Well, here's what we got for you today. 8:15 coming up right now. A few minutes. College Football Playoff Committee releases their newest and latest top 25. Michigan falls
And they got it right.
right into the lap of a 2-3 matchup versus Ohio State, although it won't happen given they play each other at the end of the year. But Michigan move up to 3. TCU finally, deservedly so, in the top 4. We nailed the top 7 yesterday. Absolutely did. Right on the money. And the only difference was I had Clemson at 9 and Bama at 10, and they had it 9-10.
Yeah, that's all.
Damn it. Talk about, man, it would have been a good bet.
Yeah, no, we nailed it yesterday.
We'll get to the college football playoff in just a few minutes. 8:30, Jameson Williams, expected to return in December. What does it mean for the Lions? And what do you need to see from Jameson Williams and really the offense where you can justify the pick? I have a bit of a different viewpoint, so we'll share our opinions on that coming up. 8:45, Aaron Rodgers, one of the Pat McAfee show yesterday, and of course does what Aaron Rodgers usually does, and that is make headlines. So we get to talk about it. Thank you very much, Aaron. And then we'll get back, top of the hour, back to Michigan football along with Anthony Broome. In the second hour, we'll get to talk to Anthony about the CFP, Michigan's chances, what it'll take, the road to Columbus, and so much more. And then, of course, we got to talk about the Lions. Second half of the season, what do you want to see? Phone lines will be open. 9:30, 9:45. Hell, the rest of the second hour. Phone lines are open. What do you need to see? 313-552-6322. But before we go, I got to tell you about where I definitely need to go sooner than later, and that is Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. My goodness, I got a haircut last Thursday, and I already feel like a gorilla again. I have hair growing problems. Now, I know some people who are bald don't appreciate my comments.
Yeah, be thankful.
But it is frustrating, nonetheless. Having said that, I respect your baldness. And even if you're bald, head to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men.
You can still cut your beard.
10-8, 7 days a week, walk in anytime. No appointment necessary. They're awesome stylists will take care of you like they take care of me. So head to a local Lady Jane's near you. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
The sports marketing agency would not be who we are without great community partners like Higuera Health and Carol Zaniga.
It's an awesome opportunity to partner with your organization. Higuera Health is a comprehensive behavioral health organization. We serve children through older adults with mental health, substance use, and developmental disabilities across Western Wayne counties, and really excited to now be in downriver communities as well. Give us a call at 734-458-4601.
You don't have to go to the beach, man. You don't have to get your butt crack full of sand. You just need a little chili peppers, man, to get that glowing beach chili peppers tan. Woo!
With 26 locations in the Metro Detroit area and more coming, Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D. Join the Pepper Club for the best deals on unlimited tanning. Head to chilipepperstanning.com.
You just need a little chili peppers, man.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
Looking to invest, buy, or sell? Michael Phillips and his awesome team over at Keller Williams are the right people for you. Being in the game for over 23 years makes Michael Phillips the number one option for you. If you have real estate needs, call Michael Phillips at 313-403-0011. That's 313-403-0011. I'll give him a call today.
Hey, can we watch a USA soccer match together? World Cup?
We absolutely will.
Okay.
We absolutely will. So what I'll do, buddy, if for any reason the U.S. ever play on a Sunday.
Okay. Well, they play on Black Friday.
Do they?
So, yep. 2 o'clock against England.
Well, if they ever do play on a Sunday in the group stage,
Okay.
We'll do a watch party maybe for the whole day, where we'll watch the U.S. play around, noon, 2 o'clock?
Yeah, they're
and
always
watch
at
some
2
football,
o'clock.
because I got like 4 TVs.
How do you not?
So we can
Let's go.
We can watch them all at the same time. Fair?
Sure.
All right, awesome.
Let me see if they play
We'll
on
do
Sunday.
something like that. I promise, Fish. I'll invite you to my house. Don't worry.
You're really nice.
Don't worry.
Fish, look at that. From saying shut the hell up, Fish, to inviting you over to watch some soccer.
Yeah, are you gonna end up changing it though? You're gonna end up like thinking about it and then say
No,
Fish,
I
get
think
the F
it's
out.
I think it's long overdue. I gotta invite you guys over for a Sunday.
or I'm gonna put one foot in your house and you're gonna
Me
say,
and my
Fish,
wife will
what the
make
hell are
some
you doing? Get
Middle
your feet
Eastern
out of this
food
house.
for all of you. When I say me and my wife, I mean really my wife, because I don't know how to cook.
Oh, I'll take it. Sounds good.
We'll have some
Well, I thought you said you were a good cook a few months ago. Now it's changed?
just not like the traditional foods, right?
Oh, okay.
Like I know my way around the kitchen, but not like her. She's a OG.
I feel like you're an expert at just coffee. I feel like that's your...
Coffee, meats.
Meats,
anything on
okay.
the grill, obviously.
Okay, he's a grill man.
Yeah.
We'll have some
Okay.
fun. It'll be cool.
We're off topic here. Adam gonna pull a Dahmer on Fish.
No,
You know what?
I'm done.
Easy. I
I'm
would love
done.
to agree. I would love to agree.
No,
with
you
that
don't want to.
statement.
You would not
But
love to
I would
agree.
not eat fish. That is the one problem I have. I would kill him. I just wouldn't eat him.
And do
That's
all the other stuff.
I'm not into that stuff. Killing, I'm down. Let's go for it. Not so much the eating part. Having said that,
Fish will just give you the wrong address, probably.
I mean,
show up to an abandoned warehouse, chloroform over his mouth.
How do we... I'm
Oh God!
How do we get there? How
I
did
didn't
we
even
get
watch
there?
the series, by the way, the Dahmer series. I didn't watch it.
you just know of it from other people?
No, I've heard really good things about it, but I don't have time to watch anything outside of sports. So here we are. Let's talk about Michigan. All right, they move up to number 3 in the latest college football playoff rankings. TCU up to 5. The top 4. The top 4. Georgia 1, Ohio State 2, Michigan 3. And then, of course, TCU 4. Jeff, let's start with TCU. Hey, you have a problem with this or no?
No, I don't. Overall, they're undefeated. This is a team that has decent wins as well. I don't really have an issue with it.
They have more ranked wins than Ohio State and Michigan
Exactly.
combined.
And that matters. It really does. And that's also why I don't have a problem. As much as we may disagree about Ohio State being above Michigan, they still faced Notre Dame. I mean, at the beginning of the year. I get it.
Go Irish.
That's the edge.
You're so right, but
That's the edge.
that is a tough one. That is revisionist history for me from the committee. And that's why I think the committee is failing. Because USC, you know me, Jeff. I'm not going to stop and... I will confirm I have a strong bias towards USC right now. You guys all know how I feel about them. I want to see them succeed. Love Lincoln Riley. Think he's one of the best coaches in the game. I think he's going to turn that program around completely. He's already done it year 1. Having said that, UCLA do not deserve to be behind USC.
Yeah,
Why is USC up at 8?
They have like 2 top 25 wins, I think.
And UCLA has more top 25 wins. And they have an impressive resume and a more impressive schedule. I'm not following the committee where one week it's the schedule, the next it's perception. If UCLA was Texas, if UCLA had the same, let's say Texas was UCLA, they had the same record and the same wins, they would be in the top 10. And that's where the brand part of the game matters. That's why you see schools like a Michigan State, Oregon at the time, all the way back in the day, trying to establish a brand because it gets you places.
Right.
And this committee really confuses me. It really does, because I think there is so much more than what we've been given. Yeah, the top 4, they got it right. It's the 4-9-0 teams. I just don't like the inconsistency with the committee. Having said that, Ohio State at 2. I don't have a problem with it.
No, me either.
I do think Michigan is the second best team in the country, though.
That I would agree with. But
No.
it's not how they're basing it off of.
Now, again, I am not going to make a scene about Ohio State being 2 and Michigan not being 2 because they play each other in a few weeks.
Yeah, that'll be settled.
That will be settled in Columbus.
Yeah.
Having said that, I don't like what the committee's doing. I brought this up a little bit yesterday. I don't like that Tennessee is kind of just sitting there at 5 and we're going to reward them as a non-conference champion because they have arguably the best loss in the country. Okay. I need to see the Tennessee. I need to see the same Tennessee I saw the first 8 weeks down the stretch. Mm-hmm. They dominate. They put out big wins, and then you have a Big 12 champion, or a Big 10 champion, excuse me. You have a SEC champion in Georgia. You'll have a undefeated TCU if they do win out
if they
the
beat
remaining
Texas
of the year,
this week.
right?
Yeah.
So they have a lot coming up. But the scarier part is LSU sitting there at 7. Oregon at 6, by the way. They did a hell of a job. They gave Oregon the credit they deserve. I appreciate that. But LSU at 7, if they win out, and TCU drops a game, and Michigan drop, and Tennessee drop, I could spend maybe 3 hours, honest to God, going over scenarios for this given week. But overall, I think the committee got it right in the top 4. Tennessee, Oregon, 5, 6, and 7, with LSU at 7. Then you round out the top 10. By the way, totally got 10 wrong. 10. Clemson should not be 10. And the fact that they dropped from 4 to 10 showed you the fraudulence in not only their schedule and their play all year. And Clemson will not, quote, run the table the rest of the year. They will not do that. I see another loss. I don't trust the quarterback play. I don't trust the offense. Ole Miss, UCLA deserves to be in the top 10. It's brutal. To me, it's brutal. And again, the committee, what are you trying to tell me? That's what I always look at. What are you telling me? What you're telling me right now is you want 2 SEC teams in. You want the Big 10 champion, and if TCU wins out, you keep them in. If they don't and Oregon wins out, you push them up. But if Oregon don't win out and it's actually USC that win out, then we'll put USC in at 4. That's what you're telling me. What you're telling me is at the end of the year, it's going to be Georgia, a Big 10 school, a 1-loss Tennessee, and either a Big 12 champion or a Pac-12 champion, depending if they all run the table. That's what the committee's telling me. Which tells me that Ohio State and Michigan will be deflected to the Rose Bowl depending on who loses. Which I actually don't agree with.
No,
I
don't
do
at
think
all.
Michigan right now would beat Southern Cal. I do think Michigan would beat Oregon. I do think they could beat and would beat LSU. I think Michigan will go toe-to-toe with Tennessee. And I could say the same about Ohio State. And the fact that they're going to give each other a loss. Someone's going to lose on Saturday, coming up in a few weeks. Someone's going to lose that game. And when they do, how do you lose it? Is it in overtime? Is it a late field goal that wins it? Is it a 27-26 game? Thrilling game. Down to the wire, where the committee doesn't punish them, but from what I'm seeing, I don't know how you get 2 Big 10 schools in. I don't. Unless Tennessee totally F's it up. And so does one of the Pac-12 schools. It's that simple.
No, I agree with you there. And I think if it's a close game, especially, both the teams have to get in. Like, I still believe even a 1-loss Michigan or 1-loss Ohio State, I think they're still better than an Oregon, LSU, USC, in my opinion, at least. And for TCU, the thing that, and people that have a problem with them being up here, to have wins against Oklahoma, Kansas, Oklahoma State, and Kansas State, they deserve to be in that conversation. UCLA faces USC November 19th, so that will be settled as well. They're going to have a chance to really correct those rankings. But overall, Adam, I'm with you. I mean, Michigan and Ohio State, the only scenario I would see if you're only putting one Big Ten team is if Ohio State obliterates Michigan or Michigan obliterates Ohio State. There's no other way. I think both those teams are getting in. My prediction, if I want to give you my way too early prediction, I think
for the final.
Yes, I think it'll be Georgia 1, Michigan 2, Ohio State 3.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
Georgia 1.
Georgia 1.
I'll go Michigan 2.
So Michigan's going to win the Big Ten.
I think so.
They're going to win in Columbus.
I think so. From what I've seen so far, it's early, but I'll say that Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, and then I think Tennessee gets in at 4. I think TCU loses to Texas this week, and then Tennessee, looking at the record, they have the best loss. They have one of the biggest wins against Alabama, even if Alabama's a top 10 ranked team. And I think that's the 4 I'm probably going with. If I had to give you a way too early prediction.
If I were to give you one from now, I think the Horned Frogs are on the table.
Oh, okay. If they're undefeated, they're getting it. Yeah, there's no.
I think it's Georgia, Michigan, TCU, Tennessee. From now.
Okay.
I think that's how it's shaping out to be. Having said that, if TCU doesn't run the table and that extra spot is available, I don't think again, the committee isn't going to have 2 champions and 2 non-conference champions. Tennessee has a better resume than Ohio State and Michigan. We all have to acknowledge this, right? Wins over LSU, wins over Bama, right? Fair? So they're not going to allow 2 non-conference champions in. And I think what's going to happen from here is if Oregon or USC run the table and TCU fall out, that Pac-12 school will take over. And it'll be Georgia, a Pac-12 school, Ohio State / Michigan, and Tennessee. I don't see a scenario unless Tennessee loses that Michigan and Ohio State are in the college football playoff together. It's very difficult for me to imagine.
And to Chuck's point, too, in the chat, he said, Jeff, they'll swap the Big Ten and Tennessee teams so you don't have to rematch in the semis. No, I'm with you. They'd probably put either Ohio State or Michigan.
Yeah, it'll be 1-3-2-4.
Exactly.
Yeah, 100%.
That's how I agree with you, Chuck. But overall...
Or excuse me, 1-4-2-3, whatever it is.
I don't agree with, and I know you're just putting scenarios up in the air. If Ohio State and Michigan, if it's a close game and either team loses, or either team wins, however you want to look at it, both those teams have to get in, right? Unless...
let's say the final score is 31-30. Michigan pull it out on the road.
Like, that would have to mean...
Or Ohio State wins. Well, it doesn't matter, Jeff. You know why? Because if TCU runs the table, they're getting in, dude.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. And if I have to choose between a 1-loss Tennessee and a 1-loss Michigan, Tennessee's got more impressive wins.
And they have
Although Michigan, I think, has the second best loss if both teams are on the table, or Ohio State, depending on who wins at the time.
And they have the best loss,
right?
I guess, if you want to say.
Tennessee also has the best loss to Georgia. Right. So for me, Tennessee is getting in if they run the table, as long as TCU doesn't F up. And if TCU does mess up, well, now you can make a case. But now you got to look at the Pac-12. Is there a 1-loss champion that we prefer over a Michigan or an Ohio State? And I think there will be.
Like an Oregon or...
I do think so. So
yeah,
it's very tricky for me to see 2 Big Ten teams get in. But when we get back, Jameson Williams expected to return in December. What it means for the Lions the rest of the season. Colin, what do you need to see from Dan Campbell? Phone lines are open, 313-552-6322. We got Anthony Broome coming up 9:15. Can't wait to talk to him. A lot of you calling for the expansion. I agree.
Yeah, this is why it's so frustrating, because so many teams deserve to be in it, man. I can't wait for the expansion.
Yeah, look, I think we all agree. Right now, the top 4 is correct. There are 4 undefeated teams. And I could argue TCU has a better resume than not only Michigan, for sure Michigan.
Yeah.
But I could even argue Ohio State. So, here we are.
Yeah, 4 ranked wins.
Here we
Top
are.
25 wins. It's pretty impressive.
All right, when we get back, Jameson Williams coming up, and then we'll get to Aaron Rodgers at 8:45. But before we do, Jeff, our good friends over at Cintron.
Well, guys, to get me through the morning, I rely on Cintron because it's the official energy drink of the Red Wings. And Cintron has combined all 3 of their delicious flavors into a limited edition 6-pack sampler box. Try Cintron's great tasting cranberry, classic, or sugar-free all-in-one pack. Pre-order your Cintron 6-pack sampler box today at cintronworld.com/Red Wings. Get energized with Cintron.
Thanksgiving is all about family and friends. That's why Woodward Sports wants to send you and your crew front row for the Thanksgiving Day football game.
Easy there. Hey, it's Thanksgiving. Shouldn't you be in Detroit losing a football game right now?
That's right, you and 3 people that you're thankful for sitting in row number 1. So close you can hear the action, smell the excitement, and taste the glory of Detroit football. All you have to do to enter is retweet or share our post on Twitter and IG, and tag 3 of your friends or family. If all 3 of those people are following Woodward Sports too, and we pick your name, you and your crew will all get the best seats inside Ford Field. So hop on Twitter and Instagram and tag your crew. And we'll see you Thanksgiving Day at Ford Field. Brought to you by Lady Jane's and Custom Health Centers.
Hi, I'm John from Better Rate Mortgage, and to me, family is more than blood. That's why I have the biggest family in Metro Detroit. If you're looking to buy a house or refinance and need a loan, Come get treated better than family by me and our entire team here at Better Rate Mortgage. We pride ourselves on giving you better advice, better service, and a better loan experience. That's why we are Better Rate. If you're looking for a new mortgage, come get treated like family. Actually, better with Better Rate Mortgage. Visit us at mybetterrate.com or call at 248-480-4467 today.
For Detroit, by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
Customized approach to weight loss, and think of all the ways it helps you improve yourself not only mentally, but emotionally, spiritually, and physically. Custom Health Centers has had over 20,000 success stories, and the best part is they provide healthy, safe, most importantly, safe solutions. So start losing weight today. Call Dr. Jason and Custom Health Centers at 844-789-THIN. That's 844-789-THIN. All right. We're back here on Morning Woodward Show. 9:15, Anthony Broome joining the show. Top of the hour, Michigan's path to the college football playoff. We already alluded to it slightly. What Michigan can do to ensure, not only ensure, but get in. Well, let's talk some Jameson Williams, right? Number 12 overall pick in this past NFL draft. Coming off an ACL injury. Jeff, it's looking like December will be the timeline. Likely to play maybe the remaining 3 or 4 games of the season.
Mm-hmm.
One, should Jameson Williams play? And two, if he does, I'm trying to define expectations, but I find it a bit difficult.
No, I wouldn't even go there. Because with 4 or 5 games remaining, the earliest you'd return would be Week 13. Sunday, December 4th, they play the Jacksonville Jaguars at home. And you got, 6 games left? You have Jacksonville, Minnesota, New York, Carolina, Chicago, and Green Bay. In my opinion, he should play. That's not really where I'm going with this. I think it's good for him to play, especially to see what you have. But at the same time, do you want to rush him back? No, but he has to play. I wouldn't want his debut to be next season. That technically be his rookie year. I'd want him to get some reps under him, and as well as just get used to being on a field again. I mean, it's been a while since he played at least collegiate football. I know he's been on the sidelines in practice, but just to see him out there would be special, especially in a season where it really doesn't matter that much. I mean, we'll see what the Lions do, but right now I'm not really concerned with the win-loss record. I mean, yeah, you want to see wins, but it's more about player development, and I think for Jameson, he's a part of that. I do want to see him play. I don't think that's really the debate. If you don't think he should play, I disagree with you. But at the same time, you don't want to risk anything. You want him to be 110, 120% healthy before he sees the field. So to answer the question, if I had to give a prediction, I think he'll be good. But Jacksonville's 3 games away. You have Chicago, New York, and Buffalo. Buffalo on Thanksgiving, and then you play Jacksonville December 4th. I can see him being back Jacksonville or Minnesota. They play Minnesota December 11th. And now
TJ Hawkinson comeback game.
His role with the team, I don't know. I don't know if you're going to get him heavily involved early or just kind of ease him along. But nonetheless, I just want to see him out there, Adam. I think it's beneficial for him. It's beneficial for Jared to kind of get that rapport with him. We don't know if Jared's going to be here next year, but at least get him out there and just see him running around, running routes would be beneficial for the Lions.
I think that's the key. Just get him out there. Let him get some game experience. I would say the last 4 games of the year would be enough for me. Coming back by Jacksonville's a bit difficult, even though you do have the early week, right, where you play Buffalo, then you have an extended break leading up to Minnesota. Leading up to Jacksonville. But I would say I'm with you. I think December 11th at home against Minnesota, Ford Field, that to me is the play. That's the play for Jameson Williams. And all you really want to see is the big playability. Now, are you going to hit it? Who knows? But you want to see him running routes. You want to see the route tree. You want to see him putting his foot in the ground, not having any issues.
Just see
you
if
want
he
to see
belongs.
that track star speed that we all talked about going into the draft. That's what you want to see. I don't think anything more than that. And then really next year's his rookie year. It's that simple. Next year's his rookie year. Is it ideal to take a player in the first round and he misses the first full season and you're not quite sure what he is? That is not ideal. I won't lie to any of you. But if he comes out and he goes for 300 yards in 4 games, I think we're having a different conversation of, oh yeah. Going into next year, this is a player that you can rely on, depend on. Now, is he going to do that in this offense? Maybe, maybe not. But I do want to see him. I want to see the route tree. I want to see him put his foot in the ground. I want to see him healthy. I want to see him be able to get hit, take hits.
Right.
Not often, but you get where I'm saying. Get into game shape, at least. And that's, I think, all you can ask for. I think he gets 4 games this year.
And I don't think waiting till next year is smart for a lot of reasons. But number one, you'd have Jameson who hasn't played football. Let's say he plays next year. He hasn't played in a year and a half. Like that's the issue I have, is that rust. For Jameson, you want him to be out there now. You don't want him to get injured, but you can get injured. Injuries they could happen anywhere. That's not really my concern with Jameson. It's just the rust. I want him to get reps. I think it's beneficial just to see what you have, just to see if he belongs. I don't think Jameson's going to come out, even if he plays, let's say, Jacksonville or at Minnesota, or excuse me, they're both at home, but if he plays against Jacksonville or against Minnesota, you don't want him to, or I don't expect him to be a big play threat right away. That's not my expectations for him.
Steven in the Woodward Sports chat brings up a very good point.
Jared can't throw a deep ball, to be honest with you. Well, anyway, go on.
Steven says his injury is the reason the Lions had a chance to get him. They knew they were playing the long game. Steven, I agree with you on this 1,000%. You could have told me before the draft, hey, Adham, the Lions are going to walk away with Aidan Hutchinson, arguably the best pass rusher coming out.
Yeah.
And Jameson Williams, arguably the best wide receiver coming out. And I would have looked at you and said, haha, F you, kick rocks. Get out of my face. You're funny. The reason you were able to trade up for J-Mo is because Garrett was taken early, Olave, Drake London, right? All these guys went because they weren't injured. And the Saints were looking at Olave and saying, we want somebody right now. We don't want to wait for J-Mo. We're not in a position to wait. We need offensive help. And the Lions sat there and said, you know what? This wasn't even on our minds, honest to God, going into the draft. This actually wasn't how we expected the draft to play out. But the fact that the opportunity to grab a player like that is there to us, and we only have to swap picks and give up a third? Yeah. Talk to me later. Make the call. Jameson Williams. Draft him. I agree. It was the long game. And at the end of the day, I think you're a better football team with a healthy Jameson Williams. And what I mean by that is, what he offers to your wide receiving core, that room in general, it is game-changing offensively. Why is Tua having the year he has? Why?
Speed.
Not only because of speed. Not only because Mike McDaniel does deserve a lot of credit. Not only because Jalen Waddle has taken that next step this year. But because of Tyreek Hill. And that speed. Absolutely. Now, I'm not saying J-Mo is going to be Tyreek Hill. But that speed puts defenses on their heels, and they have to play so far back to respect the speed your offense has. And that's where you get these underneath crossing routes. There's these intermediate, mid-level crossing routes.
St. Brown's bread and butter.
Develop on the play action, which really fits to the scheme you're trying to play in Detroit. Jameson Williams opens up your offense, and you know what? You want to talk about winning down the stretch? The Lions have an opportunity to win 2 of 3, maybe 3 of 4 potentially, when he comes back and he's healthy. Because he will add a dynamic to the offense that will be very difficult for teams to prepare for. The first game, I would say he hits a deep one easily, given you really have no film on him. You're not sure what to expect from him. You're not sure if he's on a snap count. And I think he's going to burn a safety or 2. That's the reality. So he's a burner, man. He's a burner, and he's a guy that you want on the field. And I think the Lions have done the right thing by not rushing him out there, right? But at the same time, that's a first-round pick. I kind of want to see him play, right?
Yeah, no question. And I think with this offense, too, so far, to have a guy like Jameson, I'm glad you brought that up, too, the impact he has on this offense, besides just Jameson, Amon-Ra, Josh Reynolds, even the tight ends, Brock Wright and James Mitchell. the speed you alluded to and you talked about, which is spot on. Like for Jameson to have a threat like that on the field, what he can do to defenses mentally to know that Jameson can have a play. I mean, now we could talk about Jared and his inability to hit deep balls all day, but let's just talk about Jameson and his ability to stretch the field and make Amon-Ra better, Josh Reynolds better, the tight ends better, and even open up the run game to a certain extent. To have a threat like that, you can't teach speed. That's one thing you can't teach. And the threat he brings to this offense or to opposing defenses is something to look forward to. And to kind of recap it, he's got to play this year. I know December is what they're aiming for. It's going to be nice to see him out there. I don't expect 100-yard games right away, but I'm telling you, as that rapport builds with Jared, whether he's here or not, you just want to see him in-game action. That's all. You don't want to see him a year and a half removed from football playing next year. That's not ideal. So I'm excited to see him back, man. I think
it was
a
long-term investment. It was, I think, the right investment. You look at all the teams right now. Who are the contenders around the NFL? List them off. Go for it. Give me anybody.
Bills.
All right, Bills. Stephon Diggs.
There you go.
Okay. Who else?
I would even throw Miami up in that conversation.
Miami, Tyreek Hill.
Philly, another one.
A.J. Brown.
It's a common theme. You have a true number one wide receiver. That's kind of the common theme with all these. Even the Bucs when they won the Super Bowl, you had multiple. Great receivers.
The Bucs, Mike
Kansas
Evans.
City when they won, they had Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce.
The Rams, Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, Rams with Cooper Kupp. So you need
that guy.
Bengals, Jamar Chase.
So. You need that guy.
Yep.
Now, can St. Brown develop into one? You hope so, sure. But that's why you drafted Jameson Williams, to be that number one X factor, Justin Jefferson type player. When we get back, Aaron Rodgers deflects blame from the Green Bay loss. What else is new? We'll play that little soundbite from the Pat McAfee show coming up in just a bit. Was Aaron right? Did he have a point? We'll get to that and more in just a bit. But before we do, Jeff, the best defense on and off the field.
Well, Guardian Alarm is a defense you can always rely on. And guys, as you're spending time inside your home, you want the outside protected as well as the inside. Guardian Alarm can help you do that if you call 1-800-STAY-OUT today. And you can rest easy knowing you have 24/7 protection. That's 1-800-STAY-OUT. Let them know your friends at Woodward Sports Center.
Go to sleep.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
It's a great day to get some Centron in your life. Okay. There it is. Centron, here we go. Gotta grab the cranberry. Oh wait, it's 2 for $4. Gotta double up with the classic as well. Centron World, baby. Centron, available at select Krogers, and if you wanna know how, go to @CentronWorld.com. You get dope like me. You know what? Why wait? Great taste, guaranteed.
The only sports network in Detroit that starts with a W. You know, because we win. Woodward Sports, Detroit's winning sports network.
Woodward Sports wants to send you and your crew to front row for the Thanksgiving Day football game. That's right, you and 3 of your boys, your friends, your family that you're thankful for sitting front row. All you have to do is retweet or share the post pinned at the top of the Woodward Sports Twitter page and IG. Tag 3 of your friends and family members and make sure that they're all following Woodward Sports, and you and your crew will get all the best seats inside of Ford Field. So hop on Twitter and Instagram and tag your crew. This awesome prize is brought to you by our good friends over at Lady Jane's and Custom Health Centers. Ooh, Fish, you asleep, buddy?
No, I don't know why you bring that up.
This man wakes up at like 3 a.m. to watch sports. He's doing good.
I mean, how do you not? I will be this weekend. I gotta get up at 1-ish. Probably get up at 1. So
why don't you just stay up
I'll go
till
back
1?
to bed. I probably won't do that. I'll sleep at 11:30. Then I'll probably get like an hour sleep and then go back to bed.
Oh my gosh, Fish. I respect it.
All right, well, here's where we're at. we'll play this soundbite for you. If you haven't heard already, Aaron Rodgers went on the Pat McAfee show like he always does yesterday. Tuesdays weekly during the NFL season, and he didn't fail to deliver. Here's what Aaron Rodgers had to say on the Detroit Lions' performance on defense and whether or not the Lions really stopped, or I would say impacted, the Packers' offense all game.
Hey, I'm curious about Detroit's defense. Now, I think we talked about it before you guys played them, how what they'd shown on film so far this year was not that great. And then they obviously come back and they play great against you guys. Did they do anything different? I doubt they could change everything.
Look, no disrespect, but did they play great? I mean, we had 40 yards of offense on them, moved the ball up and down the field. I threw an interception off a helmet. I threw an interception about 5 yards short of Dave. I mean, it wasn't like, I didn't play a great game. We still made a lot of mental mistakes. But I don't think they really stopped us. We had 3 possessions in the first half and went up and down the field. It's more about us, I think, than them.
Okay, really appreciate what you just said. It got a pretty good pop out of me there. Like, all right, let's not overreact here, okay? Still, we're able to move the ball just because we weren't able to put some things away.
Oh, man. I love Pat. Man, they do such a good job over there. They do such a good job. But throw it in the poll. Does Aaron Rodgers have a point? So, here's where I'm at this morning. I said this Monday. The Packers moved up and down the field on the defense, and they only punted once. But it was those 3 turnovers and the Lions making 3 plays when they needed it that ultimately won them the game. And credit to the Lions. You cannot take that away. And I know Aaron in his statement kind of sounds like...
condescending a little bit.
Yeah, they didn't really do much. It was really my mistake. I threw one off the helmet. I underthrew Dave, yada, yada, yada. Like, that part I get a bit condescending and demeaning, sure. But there is truth in what he said. You can't deny it.
Some truth.
A lot of it.
The only thing...
Outside of him, I would say being... I think he's not giving enough credit to Detroit. But again, context, they had almost 400 yards of total offense. They moved the ball up and down the field all game. They had no issues moving it on this team. But you only got 1 sack on Aaron Rodgers. I'm just putting it into perspective.
No,
I'm not saying he isn't a dick. That he isn't a bitch for the way he acts. But again, that's important to remember. They only punted once. And what saved the defense was their goal line stances, the timely 2 goal line interceptions.
And then he had 1 downfield, too. Kerby.
And then Kerby Joseph downfield. Again, it's not to discredit the Lions' performance, right? Your job is to make plays, right? The Lions made the plays they had to make. And they deserve all the credit in the world for that. And I think that's where Aaron misstepped. Was you could have acknowledged, we moved up and down the field. We did everything we wanted to do, but they made the plays when they had to, and I didn't. I think that would have been a more appropriate answer, acknowledging that Detroit actually made nobody's going to give credit to Derek Barnes for that goal line stop on A.J. Dillon coming right at him.
Yeah,
that is what led to the interception, right? It could have been 7. So the players made the plays at the most opportune times. And the one thing I didn't like from that soundbite was the discrediting, was the bit kind of like the demeaning of, I'm not going to acknowledge you. When in reality, what Aaron said is totally true. But he's lacking the context of Detroit made those plays. And you got to give him credit for that, Jeff.
No, I think me and you are in lockstep here. I don't think what he said is completely false. What frustrated me is Aaron, well, first of all, he said us, right? He said us, which is true. They had a lot of penalties.
It was you, Aaron.
No, it was you, Aaron. You threw 3 interceptions. You had a 25 quarterback rating. You had a 25 QBR. You had a 53.5 quarterback rating. You led your team in rushing, which didn't mention, which is odd because the Lions all year have been getting run. Teams have been running all over them. They faced the Packers. Their leading rusher was Aaron, 4 for 40. The next one was A.J. Dillon, 11 for 34. Aaron Jones, 9 for 25. So the Lions did really well in the run game, stopping the run for the Packers, which deserves credit. And what frustrated me is he didn't even acknowledge, and you kind of already brought this up, but saying it wasn't really them. Well, it was, because if the Lions did make those plays, you had a chance to win the game. And let's say they did win the game and the Lions didn't capitalize on those plays. They did. They had 3 interceptions. They took the ball away, and that's something this Lions defense has not been able to do. So at the very minimum, Aaron could have acknowledged or should have acknowledged, yeah, you know what? We did move the ball up and down the field on that defense, but they were flying around the field. They were making plays. I mean, Kerby Joseph, 2 interceptions. You could have at least gave credit. But again, divisional opponent.
I mean, look what he said after the game, too, not just on McAfee.
And even after the game, too, it didn't seem like he kept that same energy, because in the press conference, he's like, yeah, I can't lead our team in rushing. We got to do a better job. And then he comes on Pat McAfee and doesn't bring that up, but he brings up, yeah, well, we just got to be better. If I didn't throw those 3 picks, we would be fine. Yeah, no duh. You turn the ball over, and the Lions, in my opinion, capitalized on that, and they deserve credit for that. I'm not upset. I didn't expect this out of Aaron. I didn't expect him to give the Lions any credit. It just frustrated me that the dismissal of this Lions defense. Yes, they're bad, Aaron. Yes, they're historically bad. They have been all season. But they held you guys to 9 points. And they shut down the run, which is something they have not been able to do. They did really well against the run. And again, you mentioned it, Derek Barnes had a hell of a game. Kerby Joseph, the rookie, stepped up. You could have at least acknowledged. I mean, again, expectations for Aaron Rodgers, you shouldn't have them. But you should have at least acknowledged, you know what? Rookies, those guys made some plays. Aidan Hutchinson, he was pretty much in Aaron's face a lot of the game. You saw it. They were getting pressure on Aaron. He had to move around the pocket, which he does really well. But there was like no acknowledgement of that. It was just all dismissal, and that's what frustrated me. Not that he said anything that was a lie. They did move the ball, but they made plays and they capitalized on those opportunities. And that deserves to be acknowledged at least.
He is the reigning back-to-back MVP, right? This is a guy that has played at such a prestigious level the last 2 seasons, where he's really playing at Jared Goff's level this year. And I'm sure it's frustrating. Actually, probably even worse statistically. So, look. The truth is, Aaron said what he said. It's dismissive. It's whatever you want, whatever you really want to call it. I don't care. But the reality is, they did move up and down on that defense. And what happened on Sunday that hasn't happened all year is you had forced multiple turnovers. You hadn't done that all season. You made goal line turnovers, something you haven't done all season.
And you forced their offense to be one-dimensional. They couldn't run the ball. And
Aaron Jones going down does help a little
bit. Even A.J. Dillon,
again,
he was getting like 2 yards per carry, 3 yards per carry.
The players made the plays when they had to.
Right.
Aaron made the mistakes when he couldn't afford to, and it was just one of those days. It doesn't take away anything from Green Bay or Detroit. It's just the reality. And we can't talk about a league where you got to find a way to win. You just have to find a way to win, and then suddenly the Lions win, and we just want to dismiss it. That's not how it works.
No.
Right? They won. They deserve that. They deserve their, I would say, their cup of tea this morning. That's it. Move on. Move on, and now you travel to Chicago, Detroit. You're going to play a dynamic quarterback who really has been playing running back the last few weeks.
He's been on a tear.
And he's been on a tear. Broke Michael Vick's record last week. Unbelievable performance against Miami. And now you're going to need something very similar from your defense, because what will Chicago be able to do? Run the ball on Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
We know this. So what can Detroit do about it? Justin Fields may only throw 13, 14, 18 times. 18 if you're lucky. Now, if you get up early and you force Chicago to be one-dimensional, now we're talking about getting Justin Fields into 23, 25, 27 attempts. Now you can see the turnovers coming. But if Fields is only throwing the ball 12, 13 times, they're running the ball 6, 7 yards a carry, it's going to be a long day. It's going to be a long day for Detroit. It just is.
By the way,
go for it.
Just announced breaking news. Eric Woodward from ESPN just tweeted out, Lions safety Kerby Joseph is named the NFC Defensive Player of the Week. Timely, by the way. Timely, as we're talking about Aaron Rodgers. Kerby Joseph, 2 interceptions. I think he had 3 pass deflections.
They should fire Brad Holmes now. I think we all agree. No? Let's throw that in chat. Fire Brad Holmes. Kerby Joseph, shame on you. It took you this long to win Defensive Player of the Week?
Adam, he took Kerby over Malik Willis, dude. Relax, all right?
Malik Willis should have gone number 2. Nobody will ever convince me to this day.
What about Kyle Hamilton? Go Irish.
Should have taken Kyle Hamilton at 2 and Malik Willis at 12.
Oh, God.
Or vice versa. I don't care. Nobody will ever be able to convince me otherwise.
And by the way, Zach Connolly, on the Woodward Sports Chat, he said, I voted like 10 times. I'm going to be honest with you. I voted like 20 times. I just
Does the vote count multiple times?
It kept allowing me to vote, so I kept voting for Kerby. I'm like, he's winning this award. He deserves this award this week.
You just spammed on that quick
rightfully
button.
so. So Zach, I'm with you. I was spamming the hell out of that button, but
How
shout
do
out
you
to
not,
Kerby.
Jeff?
I mean, hell of a performance. And again, at least someone acknowledges him. The NFL. Wow, the NFL acknowledges it.
I can't. No,
Love
I'm
it.
just
I love it.
surprised. Brad Holmes, there's a talent issue on this team.
Yeah,
they're not winning games because of talent. I think we all agree.
Yeah, we do.
Right?
No.
Yeah, it's not the fourth down decisions or
No.
clock management or the inability to make second half adjustments.
Do we forget
over the last 4
Dan
weeks?
Campbell
Hold on.
coming out and saying,
Shut the fuck up, Fish.
I lost us 2
okay.
games. Like, he's pretty honest about that. He's like, I probably, lost us about 2 games.
Or on top of it, going 4 weeks and only scoring 7 points. in
Did
the
we
second
forget
half.
he went for it on
Ben
4th
Johnson.
down at the end of the
Throw him in
game?
there.
Yeah, we know.
Okay.
We know.
No
I
one's
wasn't
talking-
even mad about that one. I was more upset about the one in the first
You
quarter.
weren't mad about it. It was a draw pass. It wasn't even a run.
Yeah, look, again, the first quarter one I didn't like at all.
Okay. That's
that
fair.
one, they were trying to put the nail on the coffin, so I can respect it at least. Even if I don't like it, I can at least respect it. The first quarter one I didn't like at all. Having said that...
Wait, by the way, before we go, Kerby Joseph is the first ever Lions rookie to earn that honor.
Is that a fact?
Wow.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. That's what
The
Eric
first
Woodward
ever
just-
Lions rookie to win Defensive Player of the Week. And Ndamukong never pulled that off?
I guess not. NFC Defensive Player of the Week, not even rookie or anything like that.
Oh,
Like,
that
he's
is just Defensive Player of the Week.
Yeah.
Really? Sue never pulled that off in his rookie year?
surprised.
Dude had 10.5 sacks his rookie year. Never
And
pulled
he
that
had a
off
pick. He had
for
a pick
1
too.
week?
I'd have to double check that, but Eric Woodward tweeted it
Interesting.
out. So per him,
Interesting.
per him, he's
good,
the only Lions
Good
rookie.
on Kerby. And, you know, again, this Kerby Joseph winning Defensive Player of the Year, I think, just locks in what we were saying leading up to the draft. I'll save you the jokes now by saying, oh, fire Brad Holmes. I'll save you the joke and the poor comedy. But before the draft, why draft a safety at 2 that'll cost you $10 million when you can draft one in the 3rd round and he would arguably have the same production as said rookie that you would have taken in the 1st round? And that's exactly the case. What do you know? What I told you ended up coming true. Tracy Walker, 5th round pick. Jesse Bates. Go look around the league. Yes, you have your Minka Fitzpatricks, but you have guys that are 2nd, 3rd, 4th round picks, 5th round picks that are top 8, top 10 at their position at the safety level. Kerby Joseph, phenomenal. Phenomenal. What a game. What a stretch. What a 3-week stretch for him. 2 forced fumbles the week prior, or the 2 weeks prior, excuse me. Follows it up with 2 interceptions. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Good on him. Good on him. When we get back, top of the hour, we will discuss Michigan's path to the college football playoff. Then we'll bring on Anthony Broome. 9:30, Ndamukong Suh's interesting comments. Interesting, to say the least, on Aidan Hutchinson and the Detroit Lions. We'll get to that at 9:30. And then at 9:40, what's it going to take for the Lions to not only turn it around and allow you to believe in them, but what is it going to take for them to eventually contend? So that's the conversation we're going to have tongue twister. That's the conversation we're going to have in the 2nd hour. I'm excited. We'll see you guys in just a bit. But before we go, Jeff, our good friends over at Big Boy.
Well, for a limited time only, all new burgers and loaded fries are at Big Boy. And it's not only the Slim Jim, it's the Big Jim. They have the chili cheeseburger, which is delicious, by the way, and the bacon blue. How about upgrading those fries? Chili cheese fries, baked potato fries, nacho fries. Satisfy those taste buds at Big Boy.
Fellas, let's be honest. We like things to be easy. We like simple stuff, like sports 7 days a week. We like things uncomplicated, like Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Sign in, sit down, watch your favorite team play. And before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
3 NBA championships. Detroit fans were there. 11 Stanley Cups. Detroit fans were there. 4 World Series wins. Detroit fans were there. And that one Lions playoff win in 1991. Yeah, Detroit fans were there. Woodward Sports, where the fans are.
PR tweeted it. Let me tell you about our friends at Chili Peppers Tanning, because it's where you'll find all the cleanest salons in the D with spotless, sanitized rooms and trained and certified tanning professionals. Join the Pepper Club for all the best deals. They'll beat all competitors by $5. ChiliPeppersTanning.com. Hottest bulbs, hottest deals, darkest tans. Your Vitamin D headquarters, 27 locations and more on the way.
Chili Peppers Tan.
All right, we are back here on the Morning Woodward Show. Thank you to everybody joining us this morning. 25 minutes ago, the Lions announced Kerby Joseph, NFC Defensive Player of the Week.
And I keep finding out more stats, too. Like, this is another one. In Week 9, Kerby Joseph, became the first NFL safety since 2009 to produce a game with 10 tackles, 2 interceptions, and 3 pass deflections. And that's per Lions PR.
Good for him.
Like, there's just, I mean, first for everything for Kerby, man, in a while. So, hell of a pick. Hell of a pick. And he's only getting better. He's only getting better.
All right. All right, can we do a poll, says Danny in the chat. Who has better hair, Jeff or Adam? I would say Jeff, no? Would you agree?
I think, yeah. It might be like
I think you got the better hair, no?
It might be like a Michael Jordan, Kobe thing, you know, where we're like close, but I'm just like a little above you. You know what I mean?
That's the case?
It's kind of where we're going. Like, Adam's got beautiful hair, but
Sounds like bragging a little bit.
I think I'll give you the top, and then the beard, you're kind of like, I'm Michael Jordan, and you're like Clyde Drexler at this point. So.
Screw you. All right, I'll give you the beard. All right, I'll give you the beard. This man's too hairy. He's got a beard.
Oh, God.
Right? He's got a beautiful beard.
Oh, God. I voted for you, Jeff, by the way.
Oh, I appreciate that.
For what?
You, buddy. In the chat.
Oh. Great news this morning, by the way.
Yeah,
Shout out
a lot
to
of
Kerby.
good news. A lot of good news. Top of the hour, we got Anthony Broome joining us in 14 minutes. Excited to talk to Anthony. Look, back to Michigan. I have kind of a story to tell all of you. And it's an interesting one because I don't think it's one we have even acknowledged up until this point. Let's think back to post-COVID season. Fire Harbaugh. Program will never change. Fire Harbaugh. Can't get the quarterback right. Fire Don Brown. They fire Don Brown. Bring in a young, rejuvenated coaching staff. McDonald comes in as the defensive coordinator. And I will never forget Jim Harbaugh's comments prior to last season where he said, we are going to beat Ohio State or die trying. That doesn't get talked enough about, in my opinion, because it shows you not only the resiliency but the mentality of the Wolverines, really the program under Harbaugh. They know they haven't beaten Ohio State. They know it's an embarrassment. They understand all this. And if there was ever a year, it had to be this year, our year at home. And they did it. And since that comment, they are 21-2. Think about that. 21-2. With a college football playoff appearance, a Big Ten title. And now they will likely go on the road to Columbus and have that probably result in a one-possession game, which one of the teams could win it. I would have it be a toss-up at this point. The turnaround Jim Harbaugh has made for this football team has been nothing short of exceptional, and it's really unconventional, because this is not how LSU turned it around, right? This is not how Clemson, even under Dabo Swinney. Look at Clemson back in the day. Clemson were 10-8, 10-10, 10-10, 10 wins every year in the ACC. Nobody cared. And then it was Deshaun Watson, though. And it was the T. Higgins. And it was Hunter Renfrow. And then it was Trevor Lawrence. Damn. A lot of ballers over there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Michigan have stuck true to their word, though. It's not the same. Alabama, they went from the defensive dominating machine to the suddenly high-powered offenses with Jalen Hurts and Tua Tagovailoa and now Mac Jones and then Bryce Young. Oh, that's different. That's new. Alabama score now. They don't really rely on their defense. Still good on defense, but not, winning in a title game 6-3, right?
Right.
But Harbaugh has done it his own way. And that is still continuing to be run first, heavy run, commit to the run game. And now you're seeing them actually play good defense, not only under McDonald last year, but Jesse Minter, who comes from the same foundational coaching tree. And they have the same system, so it wasn't even a change. And Michigan are really flying at an elite level on defense at the moment. And all of that from one decision, firing Don Brown, and then that led to the comment before the season of we're going to die trying. And then it's led to 21 wins in their last 23 games.
Whew.
Michigan have turned around their program. It's insane to me. And their path to the college football playoff lies in Columbus. If they win, we know the deal. They control their destiny. It's done. And if they lose, how do they get in, Jeff? Because they're not getting in over a one-loss Tennessee.
Yeah, the schedule doesn't.
They're not
really
getting
help.
in over an undefeated TCU. They're not going to get in over a one-loss Oregon or USC. So I have a lot of moving parts here where I just don't see how they get in unless they win in Columbus. Fair or not fair?
No, it's fair. That's fair. Especially given the schedule. I get they, absolutely obliterated Penn State. But other than that, you can't really argue with too much of the wins they have. They might have one of the most impressive losses if they lose to Ohio State, but the reality is you got to win out, and they control their own destiny. And to speak on the offense and how they've been playing, that's one thing I said, and I said it on the college football show we do every Saturday here on Woodward Sports. You can check that out every Saturday, 10 o'clock. And I talked about it. I want to see the wide receivers get involved this Saturday, last Saturday. And although you didn't see it as much, the fact of the matter is they're going to win their way, and that's Jim Harbaugh's way. That's a physical. You're pounding the football. You're allowing JJ to not throw over 300, 400 yards. You don't need that out of JJ. How they are playing, and they showed it last year when they faced Ohio State, that can lead to success. You can dominate in the trenches and win up front. And I'm not really going to complain about it. I'm done talking about it because, again, I've been saying it for weeks. I want to see the wide receivers get more involved. I want to see them open up the playbook a little more. But at this point, who gives a rat's ass? Because they're winning games. And, again, it doesn't matter. The real question is, how does this offense translate if they do? I'm speaking a little ahead of myself, but let's say they beat Ohio State. How does it translate come the college football playoff? Because even a team like Georgia, last year they were able to run the football, and they had one of the best defenses, arguably, of all time, and how much talent they had. They still were able to throw the football. They had George Pickens. They still had weapons. So with this Michigan team, I'm done criticizing how the offenses ran. I'm done with it. But defensively, I think, is where they're at best. I mean, Jesse Minter, and I'm going to ask Anthony about that too when he comes on. The job he's done, and Braylon brought this up, got to give credit to him. Last 5 games, Michigan in the second half are 60-3, outscoring their opponents. And again, defensively, that's what I'm going to be watching moving forward because I do think Ohio State at times has shown, just like Michigan, I'm not going to say they haven't, but they've kept a lot of these games a little too close, right? Too close for comfort. And I do think with a guy like Jesse Minter and the job he's been doing, they're gonna give Ohio State a run for their money, man. And they control their own destiny. So this is the position Michigan wants to be in. And I think come that Columbus game, facing Ohio State, traveling to Columbus, I think they have good of a chance as they did last year. So it'll be interesting to see. But that's a very fair point. If they lose, I don't know how you can argue their schedule and get them back into the college football playoff, even though I think they're better than where they'll probably be when that poll comes out.
All right, well, let's look at the Heisman odds. C.J. Stroud right now, the odds-on favorite at plus 175. Behind him, Hendon Hooker at plus 300. And then in third place, Michigan's back, plus 600, Blake Corum. Has Blake Corum had a Heisman season to you? And let me define it.
Yeah, I was going to say,
because we have to put it in
moments.
context.
You got to have some moments, right?
That's the big one. Kenneth Walker last year gave you 5 against Michigan in the biggest game of the year between both schools. It was the biggest game of the year outside of Michigan for Ohio State. That was the game. Undefeated teams going into almost Halloween night, I believe it was, or the day before. Unreal matchup. All the pressure in the world. 5 touchdowns, leads his team on the comeback.
And he was the de facto back.
But Blake Corum is that offense, especially the scoring aspect of it, especially in the red zone. I don't think Blake Corum, if I'm honest, has had a better Heisman year than Kenneth did last year.
Right.
But
doesn't mean he won't be invited.
Doesn't mean he won't be invited. What is it going to take for, I think, folks to really take Blake Corum seriously as a Heisman candidate? Is it multiple touchdown efforts from now till Columbus, and then he runs for $170 and a few touchdowns against the Buckeyes?
I think that's it.
That's all it can be.
Yeah.
Because the next few games, I don't want to say a cakewalk, but that's essentially what it is. You control your destiny. they're going to run the ball effectively on all these teams coming up. It's, can you do it against Ohio State? Can you pull a Hassan Haskins like he did against the Buckeyes last year? If he does that, I think he gets invited. I just don't see a way he wins unless the field in front of him, which would be Hooker and Stroud and even Bryce Young, just completely fall off. And I wouldn't even put Bryce Young in that conversation right now.
And I think that's the difference, too. Last year, you had Will Anderson, Aidan, Hutchinson, Bryce Young. You had guys that were in the Heisman race that aren't in it this year. Aidan's obviously no longer there, but Will and Bryce aren't in it. You have C.J. Stroud, Hendon Hooker. I think that's why the field isn't as deep as it was last year, and that's why Corum's in that conversation. And it's a player that I said weeks ago, probably about a month ago, that I think he'll be in this conversation. But I didn't foresee, at least Donovan Edwards producing at the rate he's been producing at. So that's going to be something to watch, too, is having a 1-2 punch like they've had. And I do agree, you got to roll with both of them. But does that hurt Blake Corum's chances? Because last year with Kenneth Walker, he was the de facto back. Like you said, 5 touchdowns against Michigan, and Michigan made the college football playoff. I mean, I still can't imagine, or I can't fathom why he wasn't invited to New York. But the reality is this year, I think Blake, if he can have big games coming up and he has a big game against Ohio State, I do think he'll be invited. I don't think he'll win. I think he'll be a top 3 candidate, but the reality is the thing I'm paying attention to is Donovan Edwards because he's been playing better and better. So he's been impressive.
He's gotten better and better. Obviously, Harbaugh rave reviews. I believe he compared him to Frank Gore or better than Frank Gore.
It's high praise.
At the end of the day, Blake Corum deserves to be in the Heisman talk.
No question.
And I don't want to use last year to diminish what he's done. If you look at the field this year, it's not the same as last year. It's totally different, and you have to acknowledge that. But Blake Corum hasn't had an electric, quote, Heisman moment for me yet. And a part of that is because of Michigan's schedule. But another factor is, well, where are the big moments? And I think it's going to come in Columbus. And if he somehow, some way finds a way, $150, $170, 3 touchdowns, he's at least going to solidify himself in New York. I see it as a long shot for him to win it. I just don't see it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think he'll win it, but if I'm voting right now, I think he'll be invited to New York. I do. Just looking at the field and who's going to be in the Heisman conversation, I do think it'll be CJ in that conversation. I don't think he should win it. I still think it's Hendon Hooker. But at the end of the day, I think Blake Corum will be invited. We'll see what they do moving forward. But to your point, he's got to have more moments. You got to have $170, $150 against Ohio State. You got to put up multiple touchdown games like he has been in the past so far this season. But we'll see. We'll see. I think he definitely has a very high likelihood that he can get invited down to New York. And he's got the Michigan block game behind him. So that's going to help whether you like it or not. It just will.
What's Hendon Hooker's schedule? Who have they played? They've played LSU and Bama and Georgia.
And they obliterated LSU. I mean, that's a huge win. And you beat Bama. He should be he's the Heisman frontrunner right now for me.
All right. I want to address this one comment, and then we need to move on, okay? Day Walker says he is not a fan of the J.J. McCarthy, Cade McNamara switch. And he hasn't seen a reason that would justify switching the 2 players. Okay. Last year, in all of the games played, Cade McNamara threw for 2,500 yards, 64% completion percentage, 15 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. This year, in the 9 games J.J. McCarthy has played, he's thrown for 1,600 yards, 12 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, a higher QBR, a higher completion percentage, a better touchdown-interception ratio. And he's been sacked less because he doesn't take sacks because he's able to escape out of the pocket, and you're converting at a higher third-down percentage than you were last year.
Did you say escape the pocket and extend plays? That's something we didn't see out of Cade last year, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, J.J. McCarthy, if anything, has been better than expected because he hasn't turned the ball over. Because that was the big knock going into the year. Hey, you put this kid in, he's going to turn the ball over.
Reckless.
He's going to be reckless. He's going to fumble. He's going to throw a pick every game. 2 interceptions on the whole year, 9 games. Check that. Road games, yep, doing just fine. He'll be just fine. And the Michigan offense hasn't changed. And they're going to continue to win they're going to continue to win the way they know how to, and that's by throwing the football. Running the football. That's the Harbaugh way. Play good defense. Don't turn the ball over. J.J. McCarthy is a mold of, and an extension really of Jim Harbaugh right now. He is playing that way. and I see nothing wrong with it. Is it the flash? Is it the Heisman? Is it the guy you thought would run for 700 yards and throw for 2,800 yards? No, doesn't need to. Doesn't need to. Would I like to see the offense expanded? I absolutely would. I don't think it's necessary given all the success they've had. So let's go to Anthony.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
We'll check in with Anthony in just a bit. We'll take a pause before we get to Broome. But before we do, Jeff, our good friends over at Swiss Insurance.
Swiss Insurance Group and their employees are heavily involved in their community. That is very rewarding, but also comes with great responsibility. If you sit on a local youth sports board, homeowners association, or a volunteer coach, Directors and Officers Insurance is a must. Make sure the kids, parents, and volunteers are protected. Call Swiss Insurance today.
Thanksgiving is all about family and friends. That's why Woodward Sports wants to send you and your crew front row for the Thanksgiving Day football game.
Easy there. Hey, it's Thanksgiving. Shouldn't you be in Detroit losing a football game right now?
That's right, you and 3 people that you're thankful for sitting in row number 1. So close you can hear the action, smell the excitement, and taste the glory of Detroit football. All you have to do to enter is retweet or share our post on Twitter and IG and tag 3 of your friends or family. If all 3 of those people are following Woodward Sports too, and we pick your name, you and your crew will all get the best seats inside Ford Field. So hop on Twitter and Instagram and tag your crew. And we'll see you Thanksgiving Day at Ford Field. Brought to you by Lady Jane's and Custom Health Centers.
Life is full of hard choices. We're here to make one of life's biggest decisions as simple as possible. My name is Christina Gennari, and for over 20 years, I've helped hundreds of families buy and sell homes. We cover all of Metro Detroit and more, from large luxury homes to starter homes. We will work hard to make sure that you get the home of your dreams. So if you're in the market today or even thinking about buying or selling in the future, make the obvious choice. Christina Gennari, the obvious choice in real estate. Visit us at soldchristina.com today.
You have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper. Tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
We are back here on the Morning Woodward Show. Thank you to everybody joining us over at woodwardsports.com. Make sure you check out woodwardsports.com for all the latest news regarding your favorite teams, articles, opinion pieces, breaking news, all available to you. We are now joined by Anthony Broome from thewolverine.com. Anthony, good morning. How you doing, buddy?
Anthony!
I'm doing wonderful. Thanks for having me back.
As always, man. As always. Look, I'll start with a simple... Michigan's number 3 in the country. I do personally think they're the second best team. I think they've shown more than Ohio State have, although the committee is a bit of a flawed project so far. At the end of the day, I'm not going to lose my mind over it, given they play in Columbus. That will be decided a few weeks from now. But I think Michigan have earned their spot. The top 4 is pretty spot on. Did you think Michigan, not only just Michigan, did you think they got it right, really, not only the top 4, but the top 7?
Yeah, it feels right. The thing with if people want to split hairs over Ohio State 2, Michigan 3, that's fine. I mean, to me, it's 2 or 2A and 2B. Those 2 teams are going to play 2-3 weeks from now and settle that on the field. Though, I think the path for Michigan is you have to win that game to get in, because this non-conference schedule is going to be held against them. Regardless of what people think about Notre Dame. They're not the team they were expected to be coming into the year, but that's still a better non-conference win than any of the ones that Michigan has. And people will say, oh, well, you look at UConn, they're not as bad as they were projected. It doesn't mean the fact that we're debating the merits of a win over UConn kind of tells the story there. So win the games and you'll be in. Again, I think that it's pretty clear that if you win, you're in. And I still think if you lose, you're out. There's a chance you can get in, but November 26th is a playoff game, so win the playoff game and you get to actually be in. We'll see what happens there. I mean, no issues with Georgia. They separated this week. A little bit surprised, maybe not surprised, but TCU definitely deserved to be at 4. At some point, you just have to give props to people for just winning the games, and I think they have 4 top 25 wins, so they're certainly deserving to be there too. So. Still kind of surprised. I still think the committee is overvaluing Clemson and Alabama. I know they're 9-10. They're definitely afterthoughts at this point, but yeah, other than that, I mean, we're splitting hairs here. The top four are the teams that are going to get in, and right now I think the top four reflects what college football looks like.
Anthony, I want to get your thoughts on how phenomenal Michigan has been in the second half. You could argue they're really the best team in the country right now, at least at second half adjustments. The stat that I'm reading right now, opponents in the third quarter, this is WolverineWire.com releasing this stat, 84-6 in the second half this season, especially in the third quarter specifically. And we could talk about Jesse Minter and the job he did. I know it was against Rutgers, but Rutgers had 57 total yards in the second half, 13 rushing yards. What's been the key, at least what have you seen from Jesse Minter and this team and their ability to make second half adjustments and just kind of your takeaways from it?
I think the important thing is that in the first half of games, I mean, Michigan being the school it is and being the defending Big Ten champion, like you're going to get everyone's best shot in the first half, and teams are going to throw wrinkles out there that you haven't seen because their Michigan game plan is the one that they've maybe been putting the most effort into throughout the year. So part of it is this, it's kind of like just feeling I won't say feeling it out. I mean, don't get me wrong, they want to start these games off better. I know they would love to. I think they've outscored teams 100-3 in the second half of their last 4 games. I mean, that's insane. And I know Michigan is a team, they'd like to get off to a quicker start. But defensively, I think part of it is that you just have really good assistant coaches. You have guys that know that see what needs to be changed. They make the quick adjustments to it, and also they let the players say what they see and how they'd like to defend it. And it's this really collaborative. When you're that talented and that the culture is as good as it is and the coaching is as good as it is. It kind of creates this situation where, hey, we're going to take someone's best shot in the first half, but once we get to the locker room, things settle down a bit, we turn the heat down, they're going to just do what they do. So I've been very impressed by that. I mean, at some point it would be great to – we still haven't seen them play, in my opinion, their best 60-minute football game yet, really on both sides of the ball. So, to continue to hammer away at it and put those good things on film and we'll see what winds up happening, down the stretch here. But yeah, very impressed, and it's it was tough for me to imagine I hate to say upgrade in terms of their defensive play caller from last year, but in terms of the adjustments being made, in terms of where the pressures are coming from, in terms of just how these players have developed in this scheme in general, I could not be any more blown away by the job that Jesse Minter's done.
Well, let me ask you this, Anthony. I alluded to it a little bit earlier. How do we even get here, right? After the COVID season, everything's kind of falling apart. Don Brown is like, go, fire Harbaugh. The program's going backwards, yada, yada, yada. They'll never beat Ohio State, 10 years. And leading up to the season, after the McDonald hire, it was, we're going to beat Ohio State or we're going to die trying. And, I don't want to say that was a meme or something to laugh at, but the intention, the attitude behind when Harbaugh said it, you see now really since that comment, they're 21-2. They've made a college football playoff appearance. They've won the Big Ten. They've beaten Ohio State. They've split with Michigan State since. They've beat Penn State twice, 2-0 against them since. This is suddenly a team that I'm kind of blown away by, but also I'm not, because this is what Jim Harbaugh does. He wins, and he wins big games. Yes, he's never had a national championship, but whether it was Stanford, whether it was early days at Michigan, he was winning games. It was just always they were the 4th or the 7th or the 8th best team in the country, and they would play the best team in the country in Ohio State at the end of the year and lose. Kind of course, negates the whole season. But here we are, Anthony, and I guess my question to you is, not only how we got here, are you a bit surprised that it's been such a turnaround where they're so good, so dominant after really what was a disaster COVID season?
Yeah, it's been. I'll stop short of saying stunning, because this is what the expectation is when you have Jim Harbaugh as your head coach. But when we talk about what happened last year, that was. I thought that last year was just get the culture back on track, win enough games to take the pressure off everyone, and then you set up for this year to be when you're making your run at Ohio State and the Big Ten championship and all those things. So last year they got to have their cake and eat it too. And there are 2 things I would attribute to that. The first is that he hired amazing assistant coaches. I think that any head coach in the country would tell you that you're only ever going to be as successful as the staff and support people you have around you. I think that's the big thing. I think that the guys they have on staff are are perfect for this new age of college football, where the days of the red ass yell in your face, my way or the highway assistant coach, that stuff is done. It is, and it doesn't. I think part of that was a reason for the stagnation over the last couple of years prior to last season. But I also think it goes deeper in. They are still very much a Jim Harbaugh team. Like they have, they're going to run the football. They're going to be tough defensively. They're going to get after the quarterback. But when you look at this assistant coaching staff that they built and what they're doing on each side of the ball, what you're seeing is a team that's willing to be schematically flexible on both sides of the football. Last year, that's the biggest change that's come out over the last 2 years is that when there's an adjustment to be made on defense, they can do that. Don Brown did coach some really good football at times at Michigan, but when you were getting beat off the line of scrimmage, it was just like a doubling down. We're just going to keep doing those things, but do them angrier. That's not how football works. You have to. It's a chess match. You have to make adjustments. You have to put your players in positions to succeed. And I think that they've in large part done that. Even on offense, I know people look at the stats and say, "Oh God, it's a smash mouth Jim Harbaugh style of football team." No, I mean it's definitely that. Like it's definitely that, but there are modern touches to it. I mean, you're not, they don't use a fullback as much. There's pre-snap stuff going on, but they still like I've said. I feel like I've said it a million times on here. When you can control the line of scrimmage on both sides of the football, you get to control how a football game goes. And I think that's that mixed with defensive adjustments and all the things we've talked about here. That's where this turnaround has come from. I mean, it really is the genius of Jim Harbaugh has been on display in terms of let your coaches coach. You get to be the CEO and step back. And a lot of people look from the outside and say, oh well, things turned around when he took more ownership over their program. It's actually the exact opposite. Things have turned around because there is so much collaboration and feedback and information that is poured into this thing, and it's they hammer the details. That's huge for them.
And Anthony, another thing too with Donovan Edwards, the last 3 games, over 300 yards rushing. He had 150 yards from scrimmage against Rutgers. How does that affect Blake Corum? Because I asked you this, and I've asked you this once already with Blake Corum and his chance to be invited to New York. Right now, he's 4th in the nation in rushing yards. How does Donovan Edwards affect him being in that race? And another thing I want to ask you is, what do you need to see from Blake Corum to solidify himself and be invited to New York come the end of the year?
I mean, I'll answer that second question first. I just need to see what we've been seeing. I mean, He's on pace to, with the Derrick Henrys, these other running backs that have won the Heisman in recent years, his numbers are right there with all of them through this point of the season. So I guess when you ask, what do I need to see? You have to do it against, a tough defense in Illinois next week, and you have to do it in Columbus. And those are the things that will at least put you at the ceremony. I think we know that this is kind of a quarterback's award. So I would still say he's on the outside looking in. But, if Aidan was able to get there as a defensive player last year, I think that Blake Corum will be there. And, again, you just have to show up in those big games. And as far as Donovan Edwards goes, listen, I mean, Blake Corum, you feel like he's the guy right now where you can lean on him 35 times in a game if you had to. But I don't know that they want to do that because Donovan Edwards is so good. You want to get that guy involved too. There's value. I'd like to see them both on the field at some point. I think that gives you, we talk about football as a game of chess. I just feel like that gives a defense something else to count for, defend, what have you. But also the value in Donovan Edwards coming in there and spelling Corum is that you do get to take a bit of load off Blake Corum. I mean, 30 carries a week. I mean, I know that's you can he's built to handle that. But Donovan Edwards is so good. I mean, I have no issue saying, I mean, I think that in terms of what he can be as an offensive weapon, I see a path to where he's a more dangerous all-around player than Blake Corum. I think we already are sort of seeing that just in terms of the way he runs routes. He's getting better. He's getting more patient as a runner. So, I mean, both those guys need you to get them on the field as much as you can, but you also want both guys to be fresh too, because that's also a reason that this team has been able to pull away in the second half of these games is that all of a sudden, like, you're just hammering away. But then you've got, a guy like Donovan Edwards who, halfway through the third quarter may only have 8 or 9 carries. And then you get to hammer him, somewhat fresh against a defense that is sucking wind late in games. That's huge for them. So, yeah, this 1-2 punch, I think there's more they can do to unlock that and have it be more dangerous. But I think Blake Corum can be a Heisman candidate while Donovan Edwards is still kind of doing his thing too. I think that those 2 running backs are that good, and there's more to unlock with those 2 guys too.
Well, Anthony, I can't thank you enough for joining us this morning. Appreciate it so much, buddy. Great conversation as always. Everybody go check out Anthony on Twitter. Follow him at Anthony Broome, and of course, all of his good work with the Wolverine.com. Anthony, have fun this weekend covering the game. Enjoy. I can't wait for the week leading up to the Ohio State game. That is going to be electric. They haven't won since 2000, so if there was ever a year, Anthony, it's looking like this one.
It's been 2 years of just crossing narratives off the list, so that's the next one, right?
Absolutely.
No question. Appreciate you, Anthony.
Appreciate it, Anthony.
Yeah,
Take care,
thanks,
buddy.
guys.
Oh man, he's my favorite.
Yeah, he's great.
Any guest we bring on, absolute favorite.
Anthony's the man.
When we get back, 9:30, Ndamukong Suh, interesting comments on the Detroit Lions and Aidan Hutchinson. We'll have to have that conversation coming up in just a bit. But before we do, I got to tell you about where you need to go to get in shape, and that is at Planet Fitness, home of the judgment-free zone. Get to a Planet Fitness near you today to sign up for $0 down, $10 a month. Your fitness is essential. Sign up by visiting in club or visiting planetfitness.com.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
When you need apparel, there's only one place to go. Big Frog in Novi. With no setup fees, no artwork fees, no minimum, and a 24-hour turnaround, you can have your whole team outfitted in no time. Embroidery, direct-to-garment, vinyl, and screen printing, Big Frog has it all in all the styles you want. So whether it's a sports team, fundraiser, school event, or corporate needs, Big Frog is your one-stop destination. Visit bigfrog.com/Novi or call 844-4-BIG-FROG.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
At Alta, uptime matters. Alta Equipment has everything you need to get the job done. If you have a big project coming up, well, Alta Rent has you covered. Call them today, 844-GO-TO-ALTA. That's 844-GO-TO-ALTA today.
All right, we are back here on the Morning Woodward Show, 9:32 live, woodwardsports.com.
Speaking of big project, Lions got a big game this weekend.
What is it?
Speaking of big projects, Lions got a big game this weekend.
Why is that?
At Chicago. What do you mean? It's a big game. They at Chicago. Lions are only 2.5 games out of the wild card, or 2 games out of the wild card. Game and a half, whatever it is. Just saying.
Go ahead and mute your mic. Oh, God. What's up, Jeff?
What's going on?
Ndamukong Suh says the Detroit Lions, quote, or I'll paraphrase actually, they need to build around Aidan Hutchinson, clearly deflecting and really referring to when he was back in Detroit. So I'll kind of let you take lead on this.
So
does he have a point, number one, and two? Kind of walk me through what exactly he said.
So Carmen Vitale, she covers, she works for Fox Sports. She quote tweeted the Lions PR tweet that tweeted out, Lions defensive line Aidan Hutchinson is the 4th rookie D-line in team history to record an interception, joining Ndamukong Suh, Jim Doran, Thurman McGraw. So they tweeted that out, and she quote tweeted it and said, "Hey, Ndamukong Suh, what you think of the kid?" And he responded, and he said, hopefully the GM and ownership are smart enough to build around him. And listen, I do want to address that because let's just say this. They did build the defense. They were number 2 with Ndamukong at one point in the league. Now, he chose to leave. That was his decision. I don't know what went into that decision, if the Lions didn't want to pay him or whatever. That's a different story. But the reality is, the failure to build around Ndamukong, number one, he's a defensive lineman, and I get where he's coming from. But at the same time, it's because of where they drafted and who they drafted. I mean, the following draft after Sue, they took Nick Farley in the first round. He's a pretty solid player. The following year, they took Riley Reif. And again, even late in the rounds, didn't really hit on a ton of players. I mean, even the Fairley draft, they drafted Titus Young, Michael LaShore, Doug Hogue, Johnny Colbreth. Like, this is...
Can someone remind me what happened?
And again...
Am I stupid?
And again, I think what he's referring to is that they took Ebron over Aaron Donald.
I don't give a fuck.
Failing to build the defense consistently. They built the defense around him.
He left to Miami for more money.
And that's what I don't understand about the conversation, because he chose to leave. So, again, don't know what went into the specifics of it.
Sucked. Don't get me wrong. Mikel LaShore.
And that was
Eric
Mayhew.
Ebron. I get it.
That was
Don't get me
Mayhew.
wrong. Nick Fairley. I get it.
And that was, right.
But shut up. You left. And had you stayed, you would have been the focal point of the defense for at least a decade. Shut up. You fuck. Finally build around Aidan defensive piece. Should finally
Which,
do
by
it.
the way, they are building around Aidan Hutchinson, so that's not really the point. It's different regime, too, and that's probably the thing you got to talk about as well. It's not Martin Mayhew, it's Brad Holmes. And Martin Mayhew, I mean, at times, you found Darius Slay in the
what's his point? What's his point? What is the end point for Ndamukong right now? What am I missing? Because he walked out.
Yeah, right.
Had he stayed, he would have been the focal point of the defense.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fact. He would have been the best player for a decade on defense. He took more money, went to Miami. Good for him. Super happy
They
for him.
gave Matthew that
He's
big
been
contract.
to 2 Super Bowls since. Congratulations.
Mm-hmm.
What does that have to do with this kind of slight that they never built around you? Last I checked, that was the number 2 defense before he left.
Yeah, they
right?
were the number 2 defense in the NFL. Like, that's
So, again, I'm just confused a little bit. If somebody could explain maybe a little better.
Yeah, it doesn't help that he chose to leave for more money. I don't think that. I don't know if that has to do anything with the Lions. And the Lions paid Stafford.
I just
they
don't
offered you a
understand the tweet.
contract.
Can you say it again? Maybe I'm misunderstanding.
No, but you're not. All he said was, hopefully the GM and ownership are smart enough to build around him with the little eye emojis.
Bro. Okay. Sue, buddy.
We know he didn't want to be here anyway. Like, this is more than just the organization. That's Sue.
No, we're going to get real right now. We want to have this conversation, Sue, no problem. Your best year was your rookie year. Okay? Your best career season was your rookie year. Okay? You were all-pro your last 2 seasons in Detroit. Exceptional. All-pro your first year. 3 of your first 5 years you were an all-pro. There is no denying you were one of, if not the best interior linemen at the time.
Yeah, no question.
In the NFL.
No question.
You then left and never made a Pro Bowl. You never made all-pro first team once since that point. So had they, quote, built around you, you went to Miami, LA, and Tampa. You've been to 2 Super Bowls since, and you were never an all-pro tackle since. And you never recorded more than 6 sacks, which you had done 3 out of your 5 years in Detroit. What am I missing here? They should have built... hopefully they're smart enough to build around him. Bro, you were impossible to work with. You were detrimental to the team on the field with all of your stupid misconducts. Stepping on players. Roughing the passers. You name it.
Mm-hmm.
Illegal hands to the face. Unnecessary roughness. You name it, you did it. Suspensions. Fines. You weren't the most attractive 27-year-old once your contract expired. You were a liability. You didn't grow up until you were 32, 33. So am I missing something? Am I? Hopefully they're smart enough to build around their young... Dude, at 27 years old, you were a problem. You were an exceptional player, but you were a problem. Unless I remember incorrectly. Anybody in the chat have anything else to say? Anybody, please. Am I like forgetting what happened? Do I have like fog in my brain? Am I like just totally not remembering how this went down back in the day?
I mean, you have a foggy brain, but I think you remember correctly.
I don't think you're far off. I think it's just the reality is they didn't draft well enough to sustain a good defense, and he left out of his own decision. So it's kind of both are at fault. I mean, Sue chose to leave.
It wasn't the best organization, wasn't the best head coach, wasn't the best GM. That has nothing to do with his on-the-field antics. And again, at 27 years old, he was not growing up. He didn't grow up in Miami. He became an adult in L.A. and Tampa. And he was a very good player. But he was at his best his rookie year and year 4 and 5 in Detroit, with a lot of fines, a lot of stupid penalties, and a lot of costly penalties. Hopefully they're smart enough to build around Aidan Hutchinson. Yeah, bro, they took him number 2 overall. I think they're going to do that. When we get back, what do you need to see from Campbell and the Lions the rest of the season? And what will it take for them to contend? All that and more coming up in just a bit. But before we go, Jeff, our good friends over at Big Frog.
Get a free Woodward Sports t-shirt at Big Frog. That's right, a free Woodward Sports t-shirt all month long at Big Frog and Novi. Stop in, tell them your friends at Woodward Sports sent you, and they'll hook you up. Go to Big Frog and Novi today, or you can visit them online at bigfrog.com/Novi.
For a limited time only, all new burgers and loaded fries at Big Boy. It's not a Slim Jim, it's the Big Jim. The chili cheese is such a tease. Guess what else is new? The bacon blue. How about upgrading those fries? Chili cheese fries, baked potato fries, nacho fries. What will it be? Satisfy those taste buds at Big Boy.
My name is Lee. I've lost 35 pounds on the Custom Health Center program. So the 3 biggest benefits that I've gotten from this program has been I'm not snoring anymore, I have a lot of energy, it's great, and oh, by the way, look at this. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
Call us at 844-789-THIN or visit CustomHealthCenters.com for a free consultation and get started for as little as $5 a day.
Get a shot up. This is for the win. All of Detroit's sports teams live on Woodward. All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports. Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage.
And we are back here on the Morning Woodward Show, and I'm here to tell you that you can win front row tickets to see the Thanksgiving game. You and 3 of your pals, family members, friends, whoever it is, sitting front row. All you have to do is retweet and share our post on Twitter and Instagram and tag 3 of your friends and family members and make sure that they're following Woodward Sports as well. You and your crew will be able to sit in the best seats inside of Ford Field. So hop on Twitter and Instagram, tag your crew for a chance to win. This contest is brought to you by our good friends over at Lady Jane's and Custom Health Centers.
Hi, when you start your read, can you maybe sound a little bit more excited when you start?
Can you shut the fuck up?
I can.
All right, then I'll do exactly what you said then. Great.
Okay.
Moving on.
You know what's another
I'm just trying to help you.
You know what's another
That's
impressive
all.
stat that just came out that I got to read before we start? StatMuse just tweeted highest scoring 5-man lineup this season in the NBA. Highest scoring 5-man lineup. Cade, Jaden, Bojan, Sadiq, and Isaiah Stewart. It's the highest scoring lineup in the NBA right now when those guys are on the court.
What was it, the game against Cleveland? I think they were all in double digits, right?
Oh wait.
They've had plenty of games like that, so it's a little cherry on top.
God. Sue was a valedictorian at Nebraska. Lol. What does that mean? What does that mean? Well,
and Nebraska's...
he is a very intelligent man.
Nebraska's
that doesn't mean
a
he
great
was
Big
a
Ten
stupid,
side.
young, naive individual, especially on the field, who cost his teams multiple football games. Not one, not 2, one or 2 off out of character moments. It was regular. It was a regular occurrence.
Stepping on people's hands, getting suspended.
Gosh.
Retaliation kicks.
Yeah. What do you think about this trade? Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jonathan Taylor for Christian McCaffrey.
It's not terrible.
I don't mind it. It's tough because you'd have to sell to the Christian McCaffrey owner that Jonathan Taylor will return.
What about
to
D-Hop
form with
and
no offensive play
JT?
callers? D-Hop.
Would that push it
maybe
over
slightly
the edge?
better. Slightly better than the last trade.
Because I'll tell you what my bench is right now. If I, for some reason, trade D-Hop, I can replace him with McLaurin, Godwin, or Allen Lazard. Like, I'm not losing sleep.
No. And you get Christian McCaffrey.
So JT and... Or do I keep JT for the week, see how he does? He'll probably play this week. Tough decisions. Tough decisions.
Could keep him. But then if his value, if he plays even worse.
Again, I'm keeping JT because I have Kamara and Henry. I have St. Brown and Hopkins. Like, my team is good. I don't mind. I have Goddard at tight end. I'm chilling. If he ends up being really great, I'll start JT at the flex. If he doesn't, then I have Godwin, McLaurin every week. Lazard. I have wide receiver 1 options on their respective teams. I think I'm fine.
Yeah, you at this point you're just making moves to make moves. Like you got a pretty good team. Stacked team in that league.
Fair enough. Well, here's what we got. Jeff, the rest of the season, what are you looking for from this football team?
It's player development. Wins are important, yes. You want to see progression. I selfishly, I'm checked out as someone who covers the Lions. I'd much rather them have a top 3 pick. But that's not the reality. They're going to keep playing hard, clearly. So wins are important. Don't get me wrong. You got to string along some wins to at least keep people bought in. But player development is number 1 and number 2 for me. It's 1A, 1B. You want to see players get better. They took a nice step against the Packers, especially defensively with Aidan, Kerby, and those guys. But moving forward, it's about the rookies. I want to see James Mitchell get more and more involved. I want to see him play more and more. I want to see Kerby Joseph continue to be the ball hawk he is or keep making plays. Aidan Hutchinson to be on the trajectory he's on, and so on and so forth. Like that's what I want to see. To see Derek Barnes have that game against the Packers, the best game of his career, that's what I look forward to. And that's what keeps me optimistic moving forward is the talent they have. So for me, Adam, wins are important, yes. But on top of that, it's got to be player development. You got to see guys take a step forward. Amon-Ra St. Brown returning to the form we've seen him at. Maybe, and dare I say, maybe, you get DeAndre Swift playing to the level he was playing at. But
Do you
other
think
than
they
that,
finish the season
player
4-5?
I don't know about that one.
Well, 9 games left, 4-5.
I
Gets
would,
them to 6-11 on the year.
I wouldn't put my money on it. I'll tell you that.
If they can get to 6-11, I would feel a lot better about seeing Dan Campbell on the sideline next year.
Yeah, no doubt.
If they finish 3-14 or 4-13, that's a tough pill to swallow, man.
But the question is too, if you talk about player development, what about coaching development? I want to see Dan Campbell develop as well. I want to see him towards the end of the season. So we don't have to make these, or at least talk about it on a Monday morning, the decisions Dan made. I want it to be the narrative of, well, the Lions, they were in it. Dan, they played a clean game. He called a clean game. And they just lost simply because they just weren't talented enough. I don't want to talk about the ineptitude from a head coaching position. So, yes, I think I would even throw Dan in there as well. I want to see him improve as a head coach and get better and better, string along game plans, be able to make second-half adjustments. That's in that conversation as well. If you want to put it right behind player development, I can do that. But to win to go 4-5 down the season, Adam, I don't see that. Maybe 3-6, maybe 2-7. But I would probably lean 3-6 through the rest of the way. I don't know about 4-5. That's a tough ask. It really is.
Fair enough. All right, well, look, let's take a pause. When we get back, mailbag time. Everybody in the Woodward Sports chat, start getting your questions in. Jeff and I will answer them. But before we go, Jeff, our good friends over at the Sports Marketing Agency.
Let me tell you about our friends at the Sports Marketing Agency because it helps spread awareness about mental health and substance abuse. Their new podcast, This is the S Word, will help fight the stigma about seeking help. If you or someone you know is struggling, head to thesportsma.com for more information.
Thanksgiving is all about family and friends. That's why Woodward Sports wants to send you and your crew front row for the Thanksgiving Day football game.
Easy there. Hey, it's Thanksgiving. Shouldn't you be in Detroit losing a football game right now?
That's right, you and 3 people that you're thankful for sitting in row number 1. So close you can hear the action, smell the excitement, and taste the glory of Detroit football. All you have to do to enter is retweet or share our post on Twitter and IG and tag 3 of your friends or family. If all 3 of those people are following Woodward Sports 2 and we pick your name, you and your crew will all get the best seats inside Ford Field. So hop on Twitter and Instagram and tag your crew. And we'll see you Thanksgiving Day at Ford Field. Brought to you by Lady Jane's and Custom Health Centers.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side.
Lemieux and McCarty, who've had a good knockdown drag up. There they go, right on the whistle, baby, talking to one another.
Woodward Sports.
Let me tell you about our friends at the Fulling Warehouse in Hamtramck, because it is the home of the original football bowling game. 2 to play for $12, the unlimited open play, or you could pay $120 for a lane reservation for up to 10 people. $2 mystery beer machine, full bar. If you watch Jared Goff and you think to yourself, you know what, I'm better than Jared Goff, go to Fulling Warehouse and test it out. Take your friends too. Check it out, fullingwarehouse.com.
Adam, do you need a hug? I feel like you need a hug or something. I care about your health. I want you to be happy and healthy. Everyone does.
If you want me to be happy and healthy, shut the hell up.
Oh, well, that's a little disappointing, but I mean, it was coming.
Oh, God.
What do you have? Do you have coffee or tea or whatever?
Maybe drink more. I haven't had coffee in 67 days.
Are you lying to me?
No.
Okay.
I haven't had coffee in 67 days.
Wow. Well, then drink more tea then.
No, tea still has caffeine, so it's in moderation right now.
Well, yeah, but tea also makes you feel better.
Well, look, Mailbag, Adam, are you inviting Fish over for Thanksgiving? Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
There's
Jeff,
football on Thanksgiving. Both kinds of football.
Shut up.
Oh,
Jeff, does Meatball Molly win this weekend?
Yeah. I'm all in on Meatball Molly, man. I'm a big fan of hers. She's an animal, so whoever she's fighting, I'm riding with Molly.
Sean Jeffords asks, how can you guys say the Lions can only win 2 or 3 games the rest of the year? Have you seen the Lions' schedule the rest of the way? It's super easy.
This is what I don't understand.
All right, what is easy about playing the 6-2 Giants?
You're going to play Jets and Giants.
Hosting the Bills, who may not have Josh Allen, so that could be a winnable game. Jacksonville is winnable. Minnesota, tough.
Yeah, that's gonna
Jets on the road, tough.
Nope.
Carolina on the road, sure. I'll give you that one. Hosting the Bears, maybe you split with the Bears, and then in Lambeau.
How many away games do they have?
It's almost all away games. You have 4 home games and 5 away games.
So for a head coach who has not won a road game, I should just expect him to go win road games, right?
Yeah, that's 0-5.
I can't do that. I'm sorry.
They got
that's
the
not
Bears.
Easy. If anything, people are looking at the Lions and saying, you know what? That's a win.
In this 4-game quadrant, including the Packers, which they recently beat, I would say they go 2-2.
Yeah. If you want to say
Bears. I don't think they'll beat the Giants
on the road.
On Josh Allen. Yes, I don't think they'll beat the Giants.
He hasn't gotten a road win though.
Yeah, I do think they can beat the
Bears. On the road.
Yes.
This weekend.
He said they won't beat the Giants on the road.
No, right, that's fine.
He's
but they're playing
to the Bears.
Yeah, they're playing the Bears on the road.
I do think they have a chance
this
on Sunday.
weekend.
I do. No, I do think they can win.
Okay.
And then the Lions hosting the Bills, that's all dependent on Josh Allen's health. Hosting the Jaguars, that's a tough game.
Yeah.
Hosting the Vikings, tough game. On the road to the
Hutchinson
Jets in Carolina, tough games. Although Carolina you would expect to win, but nothing's given in this league. So Noah, I think 2-3 wins. 3 wins probably more realistic. Now that you've gotten that Green Bay win. So I do think 3 more wins, you're 5-12. That's probably realistic.
Yeah, I would say so.
I think 6-11 would be
optimistic.
I wouldn't be optimistic. I would just be, kind of fed up a little bit is I do think they're better than that, but they did get close to the 7 wins that I said before the year. Although it didn't happen the way you expected. But again, context matters. If they suddenly put together a string of wins, I think you're having a totally different conversation. So I have to be honest and truthful. When you're 1-6, you don't deserve to be talked about politely or kindly.
2-6.
Well, I'm saying before the win.
Oh, okay.
And now that you're 2-6, and who knows, maybe you're 4-7, that's a different conversation, guys. So if they win, there will be good conversations to have. If they lose, the reality is in front of you, okay? What other questions do we have in here?
I was looking
Jeff asked the hard questions to Adam if he's a man of... I have to do that BYU thing. I have yet to do it. Damn it. Jesse, let me ask you this.
Are you saying you lied to us the whole time?
Time out. Is it acceptable if I do it at home, record it, and tweet it out and tag you?
I think that's fine.
Does that honor the bet?
As long as you show it. So are you saying you lied the first
Instead of having
time?
to sit up here for 2 hours scratching my half-shaven chest?
I mean, I think we'd all like to see that, but...
Jesse, you can answer that. But if I have to do it on the show, no problem. I'll honor it.
So are you...
I don't want to leave you hanging,
Are
buddy.
you telling us you lied and didn't do it the first time against Baylor?
What is it?
Are you saying you lied, didn't shave it off the first time against Baylor?
I did. I messed up.
Okay, messed up.
So I had to shave literally my whole chest, and now it's grown back. We're looking good. It's there.
Okay,
so
I
we can make
messed
progress.
up. I've heard that many times before.
Well, I'm trying to get. Oh, okay.
Up.
So Jesse says yes to the Twitter thing.
Okay.
So Jesse, this weekend, sometime on Saturday, expect a tweet from me. I will record myself shaving the BYU, or I'll just take a picture of it. One of the two.
Okay.
We'll honor the bet that way.
I want to answer Scott's question, too. He says, Mailbag, Adam and Jeff, they get a chance to get better with not only the draft, but free agency as well. I know no one wants to play in Detroit, but if the bag is right. No, you're right on, Scott. I mean, that's the reality of it.
Everybody would want to play in Detroit if Sean Payton was their coach, if Patrick Mahomes was their quarterback. Stop it. You attract talent with talent.
That's it.
You attract talent with wins. Win more games. Have a coach that people believe in. Free agents will come here.
Look what the Jacksonville Jaguars did. Yeah, they overpaid, but they got free agents this offseason after having the number 1 pick. It can be done, but they did have Trevor Lawrence, so that does help. Moving on. Goat Noah, Mailbag, if Lamar is a free agent to you, sign him or draft a quarterback. It's tough. I don't know if I'm comfortable paying Lamar. As much as I love Lamar as a human being and as a player, he's super dynamic, he's entertaining to watch, and he can win you games. The problem I have, though, is if you're paying a quarterback $50 million, that's got to be a Super Bowl winning quarterback, right? And for Lamar, I just haven't seen that yet. I would be more comfortable drafting a quarterback, paying him a rookie contract, having the flexibility to go out and sign players around that rookie. And who knows? Rookie could be better than Lamar. You never know. Even though Lamar is an MVP, hell of a player, by the way. It's a tough, tall task, but that's the reality. Financially, I'd be more comfortable drafting a quarterback and having that flexibility than kind of tying a lot of cap room up with Lamar. But that's just me. That's just me. Alondre asks, Mailbag, Jeff, do you think Kerby Joseph will be ready for the Bears Sunday? I hope so. I know he's in protocol right now. We'll see. I know the protocol has been favorable. Even Amon-Ra St. Brown, he was able to return. I know he had the ankle injury as well, but we'll see. I think Kerby plays, but I'm not going to speak for him and his health, especially with the brain injury.
Jesse says, Adam, do you not believe in the doctors? Because you've been sick for like a month, the last month, my guy. Yeah, I know. I don't know. The doctors keep telling me just like rest and take standard medicine, which I am, but I'm not.
Yeah, I was going to say you don't do any of that.
But I'm not resting, so.
Yeah.
Look, work doesn't stop. Life doesn't stop. I'll deal with it.
Okay, there's something called replacement host that you could have.
What is it?
Replacement host?
I don't believe in that. I don't like missing shows.
You could bring Sam Stick Day in.
If I am halfway dead, I'll still be here doing a show. I hate missing shows.
Yeah, me.
Okay.
Me and Adam doing a show together. We haven't really had any.
We've had one show that we both weren't here for.
Yeah,
I believe.
Yeah, no.
Ever.
Stick still filled in for me once, and then I believe he was the same with you.
Well, and I've only missed one show, and I'm still pissed that I did.
Well, you had a few last year when you got COVID. Had to be VMix.
I had no choice.
Legendary stuff there.
So
yeah, I got COVID. I got COVID too. Jack asked, will you guys be talking about college basketball this year? Yes, we will.
It started Monday.
I know. Very excited. Love college basketball. We'll be talking a whole lot about it. Michigan State, Michigan, all of that and more. What other questions? Brennan asked, Mailbag, what are Michigan State's chances of flipping quarterback Dante Moore from Oregon?
very slim.
I would say slim to none,
Yeah, very
to be honest
slim.
with you. Good sell. Oregon over there winning games with Bo Nix. He looks good too. So if you're a quarterback, that's enticing. It really is.
All right, what other questions do we have before we go? Adam, would you 1v1 me in football? How the hell would that work? How do you 1v1 somebody in football?
You've never 1v1'd anyone in football? You have a quarterback? You're the wide receiver.
Oh, is that what it means?
Yes. Jesus.
I would love to see Adam run routes. That'd be
that's what 1v1
is.
is.
Slinging it. Yeah, you'd be slinging it. Maybe like a contest, throwing contest.
Like,
you dominate.
Jeff would be the quarterback. You'd face off against whoever the commenter is, and you'd try to run a route, and hopefully you catch the ball and not drop it like Eric Ebron and TJ Hutchinson, huh?
It's a good point, Fish.
All right, fair enough. Well, look, let's. What are you guys doing for Michigan, Ohio State? We're hopefully going to be in Columbus, to be determined yet, not confirmed yet. If not, we're going to be obviously hosting a big pre-game party. We're going to do a live watch party with all the crew here, Braylon, the whole team. It'll either be here at the studio or we'll get a bunch of pizza, do it at my house, Braylon's house. We haven't decided yet, so we'll figure out something. It'll be really cool. We'll get up all the cameras and everything, but that'll be fun. So I have a big day event for the Michigan-Ohio State game, and we'll wrap up there. Thank you to everybody who joined us this morning. Big D Energy coming up at 11. You all have a great rest of your day. Enjoy your Wednesday. I am going to go die.
Go watch all the football in the world. How do you not?